Hello everyone and welcome to another art lesson with me, Mr. Richardson. Now this week I've taken inspiration from an art piece that I've got hanging on my dining room wall, sitting opposite me here at the dining table. And it's called 20 odd inches. Now, we don't use inches as a unit of measurement nowadays. We use centimeters and meters using the metric system. So inches is what is from a period where they used imperial measurements. So inches, yards, miles. So what this artist has done is that they've found some old rulers that had this old unit of measurement with inches and has chopped up all of the rulers. Now I think that there's also centimeters on some of those rulers there as well. So it's got a really interesting mixture of some of the old rulers and the newer rulers. Now, just to give you a bit of an insight into what sort of rulers they are, because they're all wooden rulers, but back in the day, they'd have these rulers that would fold up, so it would be nice and compact and short, so it wouldn't take up much space. But then you can unfold it, so it's got these little pins that are pivots, and it extends out to a longer measurement, so you can measure bigger things. And as usual, with a lot of rulers, it's got one measurement on one side, so it's got millimeters and centimeters on this side, and then I flip it on the other side, it has got inches. Okay, so a little bit different to the rulers that you might have in your pencil case, where it's got centimeters along the top and then it's got millimeters along the bottom, but this one has got both metric and imperial measurement on it. But just to give you an insight, that is the ruler that this artist has used to chop up into pieces. And it's really interesting because they've got lots of different coloured rulers chopped up on that art piece too. However, we are not chopping up rulers. We are going to take inspiration from this art piece and chop up bits of paper and pictures and anything else that we can find around the house and be resourceful. So for today, what you will need is a piece of A4 paper. You won't need the whole thing, but just grab one. I'm going to be using a page from a magazine. It's a trusty Coles magazine that I got from the supermarket for free with a recipe in it. This looks delicious. Watermelon ice creams with yogurt and berries on it. Yum. I'm going to be using a cereal box that I'm going to cut up as well. And you might, if you've got coloured paper, you might want to use that too. If you haven't got coloured paper, you can use wrapping paper. You can even use aluminium foil and kitchen paper if you've got that. Whatever you have got lying around the house, even if it's a brown paper bag, it doesn't matter. You could even get creative, and if you've got some old drawings that you no longer need, you can use drawings and chop them up as well. This is the drawing that I used for my grade 1 and 2 activity. So anything, just a collection of random bits of paper to cut up for your collage. And of course, you will need a glue stick and a pair of scissors as well. All right, grab all of your stuff and let's get started. So to start off with, you'll need your piece of plain paper. I'm not going to use the whole piece. This is going to be my base that I'm going to stick all my collage pieces on. The actual art piece on the wall is quite small, so I'm not going to do the whole page size. I might actually do the smaller size. Won't take you too long. A little pocket piece of artwork to go on the wall. Now, because it's called 20 odd inches, that's equivalent to about 50 centimeters. So I'm wondering why it's called 20 odd inches. Is there 50 centimeters worth of ruler chopped up and put up in that art piece? Because looking at the picture, there's some plain blocks of colored wood in there as well to fill in the gaps. It's got me thinking now. Anyway, so I have got my materials. I've got my magazine piece. I have got my cereal box. All right, so I cut the front of the box. I'm not gonna use all of it. I just wanna pick out some interesting bits. I'm focusing on rectangles, okay? Because the art piece that is my inspiration is all made up of rectangles. So 2 sides are longer, these sides are shorter. So might use the word original. Now, what also is featured in the art piece is the way that those rulers are arranged on the piece of, it's on the canvas. So they are running in two separate directions. They are running horizontal. Horizontal is going across from left to right, and they're also running up and down, which is vertical, like so. All right, so I've got all my pieces that I want, the interesting pieces I've cut out for my cereal box and my magazine picture. I've got a few plain bits here, some pictures of the fruit, and some writing as well. Now, I'm not going to worry about the colour paper just yet. I've got my little quarter piece of A4 printer paper. So then I'm going to start to think about the positioning of where I'm going to put each of those bits and pieces. So it doesn't matter if they overlap, whether they're upside down, but remember I said we need to think about, are they going to be, they need to be both vertical and horizontal. So I need to think about positioning them in both directions. That's okay if it overlaps a little bit. There's a few little gaps. We can work out the gaps later on. So I'm gonna go ahead. That's funny, make it fit. Now if I put you there, you make it fit. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing. All right, so I've used pretty much most of my pieces and arranged them. So I've covered most of my little sheet of paper, and I've got some horizontal pieces and some vertical pieces running all over the page. And again, as I mentioned before, it doesn't matter if they overlap. So for example, I've got the corner covering over here. Don't worry about trimming them too much, just plonk them on. I'm going to go ahead and get my glue stick and start gluing them down now. What you'll need to do, once you're happy with positioning, is have to carefully slide one off and put some glue stick on the back, and then put it back in the position that it was in, and then repeat the process with all of the pieces there. Okay, so I've glued down all of my pieces. I found that once I started gluing them and having to pick them up, they started jiggling around a little bit, so they're not exactly how I had them before. A few of them are in a different position, but that's okay. I've pretty much got the majority of them in the spots that I want them, and they're still running horizontal and vertical. So I've still got a few little gaps here and there on my collage that I'd like to fill in, and that's where I'm going to use my coloured paper. If you don't have coloured paper, again, you can use the magazine paper, or you can just colour the little gaps in with texture. So I'm going to go ahead and use my coloured paper to cut out bits and fill in the gaps. And there is my collage where I've filled in the gaps with my blue and red bits of paper. And just overlapped the pictures a little bit more with some longer lines. There's no right or wrong way to do this, as long as you just slot the pieces of paper like a jigsaw puzzle, and using your horizontal and vertical lines. So here is my vertical and horizontal collage inspired by my art piece hanging on the wall here in my dining room. I can see that I've used similar colours, so I kind of picked like bluey aqua colours and the reds from the berries as well. So if you want to do that too, that's up to you. But I'd love to see how creative you get with using materials that you've got just at home. And I can't wait to see your collages. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.